everybody, and first of all I'd like to say I hope everyone had a good Christmas and enjoyed seeing in the new year. So if you celebrated that, if not, then I hope you actually just had a nice time in general and enjoyed all the empty roads during that time, because they were lovely. Driving out and about on Christmas Day and New Year's Day, it was pretty quiet around my area. Oh, sorry, babe. As you can see, we've got Taz in this video. He's pretty clingy today. I know. Yes, very clingy today. But what I thought I would talk about today is what I've had over the... Yes, I love you too. What I've had over the past year dealing with contraceptions and my experience with each of them, and what I personally thought of them. I did actually try out, I think, about 3 different ones over the past year, and I also tried out a few methods in between that the doctor told me to try to help with the issues that I was having with them. I'm now actually currently not on anything at all. I'm just kind of giving my body a little bit of a break. I'm debating whether to try something else, but depends how it goes, and depends on my periods, to be honest, which is the main reason why I started all this. I mean, people go on to contraceptions for many different reasons other than the usual trying not to get pregnant scenarios, but there is other reasons. They can help people with different illnesses. They could help with people like me. I was having extremely painful periods, and they were extremely heavy. So that's the reason that I went onto them. But my experience with them hasn't actually been positive at all with any of them. And if you're someone like me who literally can't tolerate lactose, then that produces an even more of an issue, because as me and the doctor found out, that all contraception pills actually contain lactose in them. So if you're hoping to go onto the pill and you're lactose intolerant, then I mean, give it a try to see if you could actually tolerate it, whether the amount in there is enough to give you any reactions. But if it does, then don't lay any hope in actually finding a contraception pill that actually doesn't contain it, because we looked into all the pills that are available. I mean, if you're in a different country, I mean, as you all know, I'm from the UK. I mean, you might have luck from in another country. They might have something that we just don't have available over here. So it's worth checking out. I mean, the pill was easy enough to take. It was a 1 a day pill. There was no break in it at all. So I literally didn't have to try and remember to stop it and then start it and try and work out, how long I've been on it. And so there was none of that. I literally used my phone and set an alarm. I took it in the evening because that was actually much more easier for me. Because I'm actually doing shift work, I don't necessarily always get up at the same time. It's something I'd like to do, but I haven't yet been able to. So trying to remember to take it at that time, and if I was on an early shift, I'd have to remember to take it at work. So for me, I set my alarm for about 10 o'clock in the evening, as that was probably the latest that I'd be home from work. So I could always guarantee being able to take it at that time. So yeah, it is pretty simple enough. 1 pill a day, took it at 10 o'clock, set my alarm on my phone. When it went off, I took that. It did actually affect me a little bit, but I mean, I had lactase tablets which I took alongside it, so it wasn't too bad. The only downside was basically, well, there was probably more than one downside, but the main one for me was the constant period that I had. It just never let up. There was just no stopping it at all. So, I mean, although, being able to go a few months without having any painful periods, was great, but when you're trying to sort out your period and then all of a sudden you're on for weeks and weeks, it then becomes pointless in actually doing it. I just wanted to sort them out, not basically have one continuous one for however long it was going to take. Yeah, so because of the lactose side of it and the continuous period, I ended up going back to the doctor, and after a bit of research, she actually recommended trying the implant. I was a little bit nervous about this one because it involves having a little incision in your arm, which they do on the inside. But to be honest, the only bit that hurt was the injection going in when to numb the area, and that really wasn't much pain at all. Other than that, I never felt a thing at all. It was a very quick procedure, a few minutes, and she was done, and that was it. With the implant, I mean, there is lots of people out there who have had success with it, where it's just stopped their periods completely, and you can keep it in. You don't have to worry about taking a pill every day. It's just there, doing its job, and that's it. And then I can't remember how long the implant was to stay in for. I think it was 3 years. I think it was 3 years, but I can't be certain on that. I could be just completely wrong on that. But I had it in for about 6, 7 months. I think I had it in. So I definitely kept it in. I tried my best with it. But unfortunately, again, although it didn't have the lactose in it, so I didn't have to worry about that side of it at all. Again, my period never stopped at all. I just, again, no break, no nothing. It just carried on continuing from the time I stopped the pill and had the implant around the same time and carried on with the implant. It just never stopped. I mean, I did go back to the doctors in the meantime with it because I was getting a bit fed up with it all. And there was also some other side effects happening. I mean, I was actually starting to get depressed with it. I was getting tired. I mean, I was quick to anger. Yeah, so there was some side effects to the implant that I was actually experiencing. I mean, all the sort of side effects you can actually find online, and pretty much I was getting majority of them. I mean, the doctor was lovely. She tried to help me out. I was told to take ibuprofen. Now, the trouble is, because I'm asthmatic, I couldn't take the ibuprofen full time, so I kind of halved the dose, which was what I was able to tolerate. So I took that, and she also prescribed me some medication as well in hope to actually stop it. Unfortunately, nothing worked. So my only options were to really carry on or have it taken out. I did contemplate keeping hold of it in and just carrying on with it. But unfortunately, the thing that actually pushed me to literally have it taken out completely was the fact that I suppose you could call it stimulated period, actually got extremely bad. I was literally having to go backwards and forwards to the toilet, just to change every half an hour. Sometimes I could make it an hour, but that's if I was lucky. And I was actually starting to experience very bad abdominal cramping as well. So it was like I was getting my period pains back, but they were, twice the pain that my periods were. So in the end, I decided to actually have it taken out. So that's that. I did leave it for a short while and to let my periods get back to normal. I was back to 4 days again. And I know some of you are thinking out there, cool, blimey, 4 days. I have 7 days or 10 days. I wish I had 4 days. As great as it sounds, yeah, brilliant. 4 days is better than 7 or 10, but they were very painful. I think I would take a 7-day over a 4-day. But then when I was 7 days, my periods weren't as painful as they were when they crept down to 4 days. And, the period I could cope with over the week. Whereas with the 4 days, I became extremely heavy on day 2. And it was like I had to make sure that I was able to get access to a toilet so I could regularly go and change on that second day. So it was pretty inconvenient. So, especially with my shift work, as we do tend to spend the first part of our shift, especially if we're opening the shop up, you're on your own. So if you're on day 2 when you're on one of those shifts, then you are basically doubling up your protection until you actually had a break to be able to shut the shop for 2 minutes while you quickly nip to the loo. So yeah, I ended up having to have that taken out. Everything got back to normal pretty quickly after the implant. I will say there was no waiting around with it for my system to actually get back to normal. It just happened straight away. So I left it for a little while and I was mentioned about the injection. And the nurse at the time actually gave me all this great spiel about how good it is, that it contained the same ingredients as the implant, but the injection was a lot better and you didn't get half of the issues as you did with the implant. So yeah, I was given all this great spiel about how good the injection was, that it was only a 3-monthly injection, so if I wasn't happy I could stop it after, not bother to have the next one. So yeah, so I thought, okay, great. She's, talking this up. Nothing bad, great. I'll give it a go. Worst decision of my life, I have to say. I would definitely not recommend the injection to anybody. It was okay when I had it done, but the site that I had it was pretty sore for quite a while afterwards. Again, back straight to continuous periods. I I basically had the worst time ever with it. I had the worst mood swings ever. Weight just piled on no matter what I tried. Even if I tried to eat sensibly, it just decided it was just going to pile back on. Um, I I just hated it. And the more I actually researched about it, the more negativity I found online. There wasn't many people who reviewed the injection who loved it and carried on with it. Everyone that I read about had issues of one sort or another. And the more I read, the more I wished I never actually went through it in the first place. And I think if she had given me a bit more information about it at the time, rather than just giving me all the positives and making out that there wasn't hardly any negatives to it, I probably would have said no at the time. But there we go with it. I didn't get another injection, so I only had one injection. I read up about the fact that it could mess up your periods after you stopped, and that it could take a year for everything to get back to normal. And I mean, this is from everyone that I was literally reading. Hang on. Oh, yeah, that was about everyone that had been on it for several months, a good couple of years. But it doesn't matter. My next injection was due about the middle of November, and I've had 2 periods since then. If you could literally call them periods, both of them were 2 weeks long for both of them. And I mean, I've just finished the second 2-week one, and I was literally all over the place. I mean, I didn't know half the time whether I was literally coming to an end or whether this was literally kicking off as a proper heavy period or what it was. I mean, I had several days during those 2 weeks where I could literally get away with not wearing anything at all. As long as I took a trip to the toilet every hour, hour and a half, then I didn't have to really worry about it. But other days, I definitely needed to wear the protection. I was just all over the place with it. So yeah, so we're 2 months away from when the injection finished, and yeah, I haven't got a clue. I think it's gonna take a while to get back to normal. Yeah, so if you're contemplating taking the injection, personally for me, and from what I've read online, I really wouldn't even give the injection a consideration. I mean, if you want it as something to have and then think that you can come straight off of it, and if you're planning a family, then you there's a chance that you could get pregnant after the injection finishes. But everywhere that I was reading, if you're planning a family, then you could be looking a good year or so before any of that could happen, as it could take that long for your body cycle to get back into its natural rhythm again. So yeah, I mean, I'm literally giving it some time now to hopefully get back to where it needs to be, and I shall probably assess where I want to go from there. I mean, if all this messing around for the past year and a half has actually made a difference, then I should probably just keep off of all of this stuff. If my periods come back with a vengeance, then I should probably have a look to see what else there is out there. Maybe give some of the other ones a try. I mean, I'm not going to put all of them down. I mean, everyone is different and everyone reacts to them in different ways. So I should see how it goes. But I thought I should just do this video on what my experiences have been and what I have tried. And literally to sort of say, my diet video is kind of gone out the window. It's just the whole thought of diet has literally gone out the window. I did actually lose a little bit of weight, but over the past probably near the end of the implant and then into the injection, that's where I had the roughest time, and basically all the weight just ended up piling back on. So yeah, so I should just have to have a look into other methods and make sure that none of them are actually helping towards put weight on, because I would like to, well, I've actually just literally started a new diet. So yeah, I'd like to keep to this one and not have issues, and so yeah. So if you're thinking of any of those options or any other options, I would definitely say don't just go in and just listen to what your doctor's telling you or what your nurse is telling you. Make sure you do your own research as well and just consider all the options. I mean, I wouldn't say, necessarily just take the reviews and think, right, that's it, I'm not actually going to do it. Because, as I say, everyone is different and the contraception affects people in different ways. So what might be a bad experience for one person might not be a bad experience for you. I mean, just give them a try. The only one I definitely wouldn't recommend is the injection. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody at all. I mean, if there is anybody out there that's listened to this video and you've had a great experience, then, that's great. It's, you know, I am actually pleased for you that it's actually worked. But it's not necessarily something I would recommend to anyone. But yeah, just give them a go. Just make sure you do your research beforehand. And also, if you do go for things like the implant or anything, you know, don't let your doctor tell you that you have to keep it in, as this is something I have read up that people were experiencing with their own doctors. I mean, mine was lovely. She was more than happy to actually take the implant out with no questions at all. So I had a very good doctor. But, you know, if you're not happy with it and the doctor won't actually take it out, go and seek another advice. I mean, yes, if you want to give it a try and just leave it in for a bit longer, but if you're not happy with it, then, you know, don't let a doctor tell you that you can't have it taken out and you have to put up with it, because you don't. You can have it taken out at any time that you want. And if your doctor's refusing, then go and see somebody else. You know, you don't have to put up with it being in there. So that's my last bit of advice to you. So, as I said, do your research, give it a try, but make sure you are fully aware of all the side effects and all the complications that can come with that particular contraception. So you're aware to what to look out for, and hopefully be able to deal with it when that happens. So yeah, I hope this was actually of some help to you. It was probably all a lot of waffling about, and probably not of much help at all, but hopefully if it helps someone or helps you to make a decision with what you want to do, then great. So we'll leave it there. I might actually do a video about the new diet I am trying, and maybe do some regular updates on it, as that would probably also help me keep on track with it if I'm actually documenting it. So yeah, look out for that one, and I will talk to you guys later.